and conservatives and veterans are bad. That's what you'd expect, in the 70s if the Russians took over.
Exactly. Well, it ain't going to work. We can't let it work. There's too many people out there, man. There's too many. I see too many good people every day. They ain't going to swallow this.
Do you agree, Charlie?
That's the thing about educating people about this thing. Please, people, if you're listening to me, don't take my word for it. Don't take Alex's word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it. Prove it to yourself for the sake of your children and your grandchildren and yourself and this nation that we all love so much. Get on your computer, look up Agenda 21. And find out what it is and what it means and how it's going to affect not just us but the whole world. Do that. Don't take my word for it.
You're right. John in Texas, we got to move quick here. We're running out of time with Charlie Daniels. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Hello, Charlie.
Hi, Sean.
Basically, we're in the Soviet system right now. It's just soft core because of the Second Amendment. They can't really get rough, so they're implementing it slowly in spots where they can. But the key to all this is the Second Amendment. Once the guns are gone, the velvet glove comes off and the iron fist will come down and we'll be in a red terror that the world will never see.
Amen. Amen. You're right. We can't let that happen. That's the thing about it. What scares me more so than anything else about this is one more Supreme Court justice. Stop and think about it. You've got Sotomayor, Mayor, and you've got Elena Kagan. Elena Kagan should not even be on the Supreme Court to start with. She's too big.
She helped write the health care law and is now going to rule on it. That's illegal.
Yes. She should have been recused. She should have recused herself. We've got our Constitution is being trampled on by this government and this administration.
Charlie, what do you make of Cass Sunstein? Since you said that, Cass Sunstein is the guy they've got lined up. Obama says that'll be his next nominee. Cass Sunstein has said, I'm not kidding, you can pull this up. I can't believe it. He said it. He wrote papers 4 years ago, saying, arrest people that don't agree with man-made global warming or at least fine them. He is a total authoritarian, and that's who Obama wants.
Then they're going to have to come get me. Because I think man-made global warming. I don't think man can't control the climate of this world. That is stupid. If this world is changing, it's God's doing. It's not ours. If it's warming, it's God's doing. It's not man's doing. We can't do it. We can't control it. And that's just downright stupid. Anybody that has those kind of preconceptions should not even be allowed to go in the Supreme Court building, much less serve on the Supreme Court. And that's what I'm talking about. That's where, if we aren't careful, Obama's big power is going to come from. Is from the Supreme Court. And then Congress can sit back and say, well, we didn't do it. Well, yeah, you did. You sit back and let it happen.
Amazing.
You confirm these idiots.
Charlie Daniels is our guest. Thank you so much, John. Patriot in Michigan, you're on the air with Charlie Daniels.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Charlie. It's an honor.
Hey,
Charlie, I would like to commend you for speaking out. I wish more people of your stature would do the same. Just a quick little tidbit, Alex. I'd like to say thank you to all of you. We have started speaking out. We have built a social network. We would like to invite you all. It's patriotspot.wall.fm. It's got a ton of Alex content, full of Agenda 21.
Good job, buddy. We appreciate you. Tell us if you got a question for Charlie.
Yes, Charlie. What do you think we should do in response to the NDAA?
Response to the what now?
The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA bill.
Yeah, what do you make of Obama?
Me or him?
No, I mean, what do you make of Obama, just to be clear, with NDAA? That's where he says he'll arrest citizens and disappear them if he wants.
I think you ought to call your congressman, your senator, and raise hell with them. Tell them they can't come back to the state if they let something like this happen. But that's the danger again of the Supreme Court situation. They'll never get that through Congress. There's no way they'll ever get it through Congress. But you wait for the Supreme. I mean, that's what scares me. That right now is one of my biggest fears in this country is the Supreme Court passing something, and the Congress. There's when you don't read bills. If you can't read bills, you got no business up there. You vote for stuff you don't even know what the heck it is. That's stupid. That's not America. That's not what they're there for. We need to get squared away here. We need people who are going to support our Constitution and people who are going to support Supreme Court justices that are not left so far in one direction that they can't possibly think the right way to rule right on things. This thing about arresting people, that ain't going to happen. We can't let that happen.
I was about to say is that they put a bunch of degenerates and crooks in so foreign interests can use America like a vending machine. They stick money in, pull the lever, get whatever they want out of it. Let's jam in more calls here in the last few minutes with Charlie Daniels. Doris in Tennessee, you're on the air.
Hey,
Doris.
I'm from I'm in Nashville right now, Charlie Daniels.
Well, bless your heart. I'm up here in Louisville right now.
Listen, I'm really glad to hear you two link up together. I've been a Prisonplanet member for since March of 11, and I think that we are completely being taken over if people don't wake up, and they'll listen to people like you. And this is sort of like the Alamo, Tennessee. It wouldn't be a Texas without a Tennessee. I call Lamar Alexander. I call Corker all the time. They always tell me exactly what they told you. They will never vote for these things. Now, they just did the transportation and highway thing, and in it was a section about firearms. And they said he didn't vote for that. I looked up the votes, and they voted yay on it. I don't know. He said, well, he didn't vote for that part.
Well, I know this. They're always changing those bills, but what I know is in that bill is that the IRS just says you haven't paid your taxes. I mean, I've had them come after me, and I know full well I've got mainline accountants and paying all that stupid tax to the Federal Reserve. And just for them saying you haven't paid, they take your passport away, which is a right as a citizen. Charlie, what do you think of that?
Well, I think it's just another power grab. It's just like they just keep coming at you from every direction they possibly can. Well, how about this situation? We're going to make kids under, 16, quit working on farms?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that brilliant? The best way in the world for kids to learn the work ethic is to get up. Farm kids have the best work ethic. I used to work on a farm when I was a kid. Kids that drive, the kids that are 10 years old on farms do a better job driving a tractor than most people on the highways do with automobiles. That's stupid.
Well, here's the deal. My dad... Exactly. My dad grew up on a farm, and I've worked on the family farm we have in ranches nearby. They sent me down there for a whole year one time. But the point is that that's what teaches you to act like an adult when you're young and teaches you responsibility. And some of the best workers on those farms are children. They're having a good time, and they've got a lot of money in their pockets instead of playing video games or joining gangs. But it shows how they want to destroy parental control over their children.
Well, it ain't going to happen. We can't let it. Somehow, some way, we got to say our prayers and pull our boat and lever, and we cannot let this happen. It's obvious that this is a very clear-cut deal here that we want to go this way, that Obama is going to take us, and he ain't going to change. It's going to be worse if he gets to take a term. Are we going to go this way? We're going to try to go another way. We're going to take a fork in the road. And, it's like, I don't know anything about, it looks like Mitt Romney's going to run. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I know he ain't Obama. And I know, to me, I don't endorse political candidates. But right now, I would vote for just about anybody but Obama.
You'd vote for Mickey Mouse over Obama?
I'd vote for Mickey Mouse in New York Minute, yeah.
In
fact, we ought to start that. Let's do that. Mickey Mouse for president, yeah.
Over Obama.
We've got a Mickey Mouse president now. What's the difference? Yeah.
Exactly. Let's jam in a few more for Charlie Daniels, then he's got to go play the Kentucky Derby. Let's go ahead and talk to Don in Texas. You're on the air, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hello, Alex. I wanted to recommend to you, since you've got a musician you're interviewing today, a song that nobody knows, but they think they do, and it's the Star-Spangled Banner, the last verse.
Well, you know what, you're right. It does have a last verse, but the thing about it is, when you do it, nobody wants that last verse because it takes too long, and they're burning up network time, and they won't get home with the football game, But yeah, definitely there's a last verse to it.
Can I quickly recite it?
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation.
The conquer we must, then we cause it is just, and thus be our motto, in God is our trust. Yeah, that's why they don't say that.
And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Everybody needs to memorize that.
Good verse.
But you notice it says, if our cause is just, you see, and that's why they want to make us corrupt, because we lose all of our providence once we become corrupt.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you're on the air with...
guys.
I'm sorry, Charlie, go ahead.
I said, we're not going to let this happen. We can't let this happen.
We're not. Caller, you're on with Charlie Daniels. Did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to, since you got a musician on, remind you all of that and all your listeners.
Okay.
Thank you.
Again, we've only got a few minutes left with Charlie. We're going to break here in a second. I want to jam in a few more. He's been very nice, charliedaniels.com. But, Charlie, I've got to selfishly ask you a question. How did you come up with The Devil Went Down to Georgia, and how did you come up with the best fiddling I've ever heard?
Well, I would have to disagree about the best fiddling, because I don't consider myself that. But the way we came up down to Georgia is a pretty boring story, actually. We had written and rehearsed a whole album's worth of songs to go in and do an album. And we got in the studio and said, we need a fiddle tune. I don't know why we didn't discover it before we went in, but we said we need a fiddle tune. So we took a break, moved out of the recording studio into a rehearsal studio, and wrote this song. I don't know where the idea came from. I read an old poem back in high school by Stephen Vincent, they called The Mountain Whippoorwill, that had to do with fiddling, and it always impressed me because I was a young fiddle player. If that's where the idea came from, but I got this thing, Devil Went Down to Georgia, and the guys started chipping in, and here we went, and first thing you know, went back to the studio and recorded it. So it's not a great, I wish there was a better story about that, but it's actually not.
Well, you could always come out with another one, but let me ask you this then. It's kind of a right stuff question where they say, well, who was the greatest fighter pilot you ever knew? And he was about to say Chuck Yeager, but he said himself. Who do you think is the greatest fiddle player, living or not living?
Johnny Gamble is hard to beat. I know you're familiar with him.
Yes.
There's a couple of guys on the opera that are Hoot Hester is an excellent fiddle player. The best hoedown fiddle player right now, in my opinion, is Earl White, who plays with the square dancers on the Opry. Hoedown fiddling is almost a lost art nowadays because there's people don't square dance that much anymore on a grand scale. And some of the guys that I run into on the road once in a while, some of these young guys are really, really good. Kids ask me about playing fiddle. I say, don't look at me. I hold the bow wrong. I hold the fiddle wrong. I put too much pressure on the bow. But that's my style, but it may not work for you. You run your violin, think you're crazy. Don't do it. I don't read music, so I just do it however I want to.
All right, I'm going to jam in 2 more calls, but folks, you've got to just ask your question. We've got to go because we've got about 2 minutes left here. Let's talk to Charles in Rhode Island. Charles, you're on the air with Charlie Daniels.
Greetings and salutations, talk show host extraordinaire, freedom friend, Mr. Daniels. Basically, this is my question. Do you really understand the real crux of the situation here? Up until 1951, 90% of people paid income tax. The government did something very smart in making people invest in the government. So, therefore, the mindset is they got to collect that check, from the government for the Social Security.
Brother, listen, I could put you on hold and come back to you after break because we've only got a minute or so left. Do you have a question?
Yeah, the question is, do you understand